Good Sunday, everybody. We are doing a show today. It is a special show from Orlando, Florida. I'm show you guys what my family's doing right now. That's cousin Brandon out there doing his thing. That's my uncle out there. We are at the Safari Lodge, Animal Kingdom Disney World, and out here is basically like a safari type deal. So out here are all the animals, and so Orlando, Florida today is a different cooking show because I'm not on my coast. I'm on the East Coast, so we're bringing it pretty early to you guys on the West Coast. But it's basically the same thing. So if you haven't been following, I am at Disney World in Orlando, Florida. So the show today is going to be a tad different in terms of how we're doing it. One thing I noticed was pretty important so far is my mother's intent on having food at all times, even when we're in the park. I prefer to have the local food. She likes to make her own. So we're going to go over a couple things you can do to make that easier on yourself. So first things first. My mother loves to make spaghettis and pastas. And so she suggested, because we were in the store earlier and I was teaching her the different shapes of pastas and what they mean. And so we're going to go over these different pasta shapes and why you wouldn't use one instead of the other. So elbows, most of you recognize these as your macaroni noodles, your spaghetti noodles, your rotelli noodles, which are not used commonly in home cooking, but we'll go over what those are used for. And then you have your penne noodles, which are used not as common as the other ones, but still very delicious. So, what are these pastas for? Your thin spaghetti. There's two different types of spaghetti. You'll see right here the numbers. So there's spaghetti number 8, there's spaghetti number 9, there's spaghettis all the way to number 2. The lower the number, the less thick it's going to be. And so with your thinner sauces, with your Alfredos and your sauces that are basically watery, you're going to use this right here, your thin spaghetti. Here, your large elbows, that's for anything that needs to catch some kind of sauce inside of it. The elbow itself hooks around, as you can see this picture right here. The elbows hook around, and so what happens is your sauce gets caught in the elbow. And so if you can imagine, your sauce gets caught in this little C right here, and it can't get up because, the edges are tilted up and the sauce is pooling in the bottom. And so you want to make sure that when you're doing things with things like elbow macaroni, you don't want to use thin sauces. You want to use something a little more. A thin sauce won't stick to elbow macaroni. It will just flow through it as if it wasn't there. Which leads us on to our next one. Rotelli noodles. For those of you joining us, we're going over your different noodles and what they are used for. Rotellis. A lot of people probably don't use this. My cousin's asking if you can hold it for me. Rotelli noodles, this is what you're going to use with your pesto. You cook some pesto, you're going to toss them in some of this. These little ridges, the ridges are to catch whatever you're cooking. So if you're sauteing with a noodle and you want to make it a pan dish, let me flip it over for you. All right, there you go. So, any dish where you're not boiling your noodles and you're just tossing them with other ingredients. Let's say you want to make a noodles and olives and chicken dish with a bunch of herbs and stuff and onions and mushroom. You would use this kind of pasta because it would all get caught up in these little twists and turns. Whereas if you use spaghetti, all your mushroom and onion and stuff is just going to be in your sauce and not stick to your actual pasta. Same thing with elbow macaroni. You don't want to use solid stuff because it won't get into the elbow macaroni. Only sauces get into the macaroni. And so things like this are things where you're sauteing your noodles with onions and mushrooms and all kinds of stuff. because these grab on very, very well to the little things in your dish. And so I suggest you don't use these with sauces. These are more for stews or jambalaya type things where they're pan meals. And then last but not least on our pasta list is penne. Penne is pretty common in terms of house cooking, but people don't know what to use it for. They use it in just because it's a different shape, I guess. But what you're using penne for is almost the same as what you're using macaroni for, except your sauce doesn't have to be as thick with the penne. The penne with the ridges, it's a smaller hole, and the ridges on the inside help it grab onto things a lot easier. And so it's a good mix between the rotelles and the elbow, where it catches sauce, but at the same time allows you to catch solids onto your noodle, which is pretty important if you're cooking with solids and not just sauces.
You're getting a lot of thumbs up, Lonnie.
That's good. Well, let me see who is doing this. So, just to recap, you guys. Hey Zena, hey Jovan, hey Maya. Spaghetti, thin sauces. Rotelle is your solids that don't have sauce. Elbow macaroni is for your thick sauces, and your penne are for your in-betweens where you have solids and sauce, so where you want to capture it all. There are many, many, many more types of spaghetti and the like. When you're doing stuff like this, you want to make sure that you're not, you can experiment, feel free, but don't overcook your pasta.
Hi.
What's going on?
When you hit it, it didn't turn around, so we're trying to turn it around.
There we go. Sorry. So, we're going to move on to the next iteration of this. So, again, this is about traveling. And so, when you're traveling, as my mom loves, one of her favorite things traveling, what I've seen is things like pastas and spaghettis and whatnot. And so, I'm doing this in terms of with a traveling state of mind. You want things that hold well, that are still good when they're not piping hot. And that's good. Cold pesto pasta is delicious no matter how long you have it in your bag for. And same thing goes with salads that aren't pre-made. If you keep your salads separate and your vegetables wrapped in paper towels, you will not regret bringing salad stuff to a family function or a going out event, because as you can see with all of these, it is a good spread. You can come this way.
Why paper towel?
I'll go over it. So, with packaging these up, I suggest you just get a bunch of Rubbermaid containers or something of that sort, anything that has a lid and is really secure. And you just want to separate all these into different containers. All of your green veggies, you want to wrap in paper towel to wick away the moisture as the day goes on. As the heat goes, it's going to start wilting, and to slow down that process, you want to wick away as much as the old bacteria and water.
Are you saying wick away?
Yeah, to wick, like how wicks get the candle wax out of candles. It's the same idea to the physics. The liquid is naturally going to be drawn to the driest thing nearby.
Wow.
To balance out the liquidity between the food and the thing it's touching. So, we're coming up here, we're going to go over what we're using. So, this is my own recipe. This is my own recipe in terms of a salad. It is a Japanese steak salad with ginger dressing. So, we're going with sheep's feta. There's two types of feta. There's goat feta and sheep feta. I prefer sheep feta because it's not as salty, and so it lets me to use other ingredients without worrying about that. And then we have berula and harta romaine. Of course, one of the interesting about this recipe is it's not set on. There's no cup of this, cup of that, cup of this. It's all however much you want of it. So if you prefer arugula to lettuce, you use more arugula. If you like feta a lot, use a lot of feta. If you don't like croutons, just put one crumbled up on top as a topping. It's all okay.
Jovan is saying good stuff, bro.
Well,
and
thank
someone
you.
else said I love that dressing.
Yeah, so the dressing, this is Makoto ginger dressing. It's this is my cousin who just said, because he's just nodding while I go through this. This dressing is one of my favorites that I found recently. Salad dressing. It's a dressing, it's a marinade, it's a sauce, it's all kinds of things, but I use it on my salads. I highly, highly suggest you try this out. We are blurring the lines in terms of a Japanese salad. A traditional Japanese salad uses a balsamic vinaigrette, but a ginger dressing still falls under the Asian influence, so you can get away with that. And then we have baby tomatoes, and then steak. We have bottom round steak, thinly sliced. And so you want to remember when you're doing this, this is totally optional. This, of course, this is when you get more in the gourmet side, but everything between there, the croutons, the feta, the tomatoes, the lettuce, it all makes sense when you put it together. I suggest when I do this, I go 75% romaine and 25% arugula. What you're in the background is Disney World, guys, as I told you. So, and then croutons. You want to fry this up about medium rare. Well done steak will ruin your salad. Take it from me. You don't want to chew your salad for a long time. And that is when it comes to cooking. When it comes to cooking things like this, you want to separate it all out and keep it separate for your family. I do it like this just because I know my god sister doesn't like feta. So I wouldn't pre-make the whole salad with feta. I would have it separated out, and then everyone makes the salad how they want. I would, my cousin Baron would probably put in cranberries or something. That's how people are. Salads are very individual to your own personal being. So feel free to take this how you want. The recipe is already in the description for those of you who want it. And that's it for today. This is my beautiful mother and I, Disney World, Florida, having a great time.
Disney World.
Our backdrop today is the Safari Land, and so we're having a good show today.
Are there any animals out there?
Yeah, they were watching animals earlier.
Oh, on your Facebook Live?
Yeah, I had the camera out there. How is Disney World? Disney World is great. We got Christy with us, so it can't be much better.
We have our own.
Hold on, she's waving, so I'm gonna point it at her. Hold on, Christy. All right. See, this is our Christy.
She is our personal concierge.
Our personal Disney rep. She gave us total access to her life, so we can use her.
So if I can just share, the reason why I asked Jelani to do the pastas, because we were at the store, Jelani, were we?
Yeah, we were at the store grabbing some pasta.
We were at the store grabbing some pasta, and he just started rattling off, oh, this pasta's for cheese, oh, this pasta's for meat, and I had no idea. Me either. Right, Brandon's like, me either. Like, we had no idea. Like, I've been cooking for years, and I had no idea that this was to loop. Like, it makes so much sense, and he's just talking. He's not even thinking about what he's sharing with me, and I just looked at him, and I went, you gotta share this. Like, you don't have to cook every weekend. Share with us what we might not know. So, did anyone get value from that? Like, how many of y'all, if you've been eating pasta for a while and you didn't know there's a reason for the shape of the pasta, just type your name in the chat box, because I know that I'm come from a cooking family, and I'm 50 years old. And he taught me something. So I just thought that you guys might find value from it as well. So that's the reason why.
Yeah, so we are consistently trying to bring you guys the content that we believe is most useful. And of course, being on vacation, we have to take a moment, come to a relatively quiet place for Disney World, and then find a place to do this and get you guys this information. So I'm going to be signing off. We'll see you next Sunday as always. It's going to be, to make up for this, it's going to be a meal. We're doing a meats, sides, and a bread. And so I highly suggest you come for that. It's going to be a very, very good episode. I see Christy on there now. I see you. Christy
Zena says, love it.
So,
Christy says, you go.
Yeah, we will see you guys next week. We're going to go probably help on some rides, grab some food or something. See you.
Wonderful.